Coming up on Two Noobs. Two noobs.
Yeah.
Two noobs. Well, France just approved a controversial new high-tech law enforcement tactic. See what us American pigs have to say about it. Then, what's got the nanny so upset in the Screen Actors Guild strike? And who's going to provide my entertainment?
Well, that's mine too.
Plus, healthy people shouldn't listen to TikTok. What the hell? And then, finally, we're going to conclude with another first here on Two Noobs. But you're going to have to stick around and see what that is to find out. Matt's going to do ventriloquism with a raw whole chicken. Stop laughing.
Start that music.
Hey! That's right. Episode 1. We've been through this.
Oh, I know.
Episode 147 of Two Noobs talking 2 W. Yeah, that's a W. 2.
Absolutely.
But the promo code for W stays the same.
That's
so
right.
Don't mix that up when we get to that point.
That's right.
He over there is Matt Craig. I'm not even going to bother with directions today because I can just point.
Yep.
It's actually him.
Bing, bing, bing.
John is doing work stuff, so...
John's not under the table. I'm just saying. I checked. He's not there.
That's good. I don't know who I was giving my table scraps.
It's like, oh, gosh.
He's not down there.
Yeah, I don't know.
So hopefully John will be back next week. Looking out for you, buddy.
Yeah.
Hope to see you back soon.
Crazy. I know, like, training people. That's got to be, like, mind-blowing and nervous and... Oh my God. So hopefully he's not that anxious. Johnny, just thinking about you out there, bud.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we're going to hold the fort down for him this week. Normally I would ask him how he's doing in the great state of Texas, but he's not here. So how are you doing in the great state of Texas?
Well, I'm not in the great state of Texas. I'm here with you, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
This is great. Obviously doing a repeat of what we did back a few months ago. So it's nice to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
No, you're welcome.
But I'm doing okay. I had the birthday on Thursday, and that was
yes. Happy birthday to Noobs.
Woo!
Happy birthday to Matt.
Yeah, time of this recording, of course. But yeah, it was good. Had a great time with the fam, and checked out Top Golf and King of Prussia. It was expensive to be there by yourself. It was like $70. But it was like unlimited ball selection, so you basically paid for a certain block of time.
Okay.
And so, like, I was there for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. So that was $70 for the whole.
And what do you do at Top Golf?
So they have like different types of games that you play.
Oh.
Where you can do, like, let's just say a front nine of Pebble Beach, and then you could change the game, and then you could go like, okay, if you hit a particular bullseye out there onto the field, so like you have like certain flags you have to hit, and you get points for them. So you have that kind of a thing going on. And then there's one which was really hilarious, where you're on, let's just say Pebble Beach, and you're off the tee, and if you mishit it intentionally, you get points for it. So it's like, I think the idea being that if you're not very good at golf, you don't always have to hit it straight. You can still hit it and still get points for it. That kind of
So
deal.
we're going to encourage suckiness.
Exactly. Yeah, we're going to have bad behavior on the golf course. It's hilarious.
Good.
I would say it was really good if you're there for like a group of 6. If you're there, because you have like a whole, you rent out a bay, basically, a kind of a hitting bay. And there's 3 levels to this place. It's enormous. It's gigantic. And every time you take like a shot, it'll trace where the ball is going. So
this is all virtual.
It's all virtual,
Okay.
with the only exception, like, you're out in the driving range. It's literally like a driving range, about 200 some odd yards. So not a whole heck of a lot. But the computer they have there is all virtual. So it'll trace your shot. It'll tell you how fast the ball is going, how high the ball is, whether or not you have curve to the shot or not, things like that. It's kind of really cool. But again, it's like for one person to go there, it's probably not that recommended. I could just go to like like an easy driving range and just pay a bucket of balls for like $10 and be done with it.
True.
So, but if you're there with a group of people, it's pretty cool.
Plus, if you go to the driving range and you mishit it on purpose, they're probably going to be pissed off at you.
Yeah.
You can't really get away with that on the on the regular golfing range.
No.
But so here we are. We're gonna do fun fact and over 40 rant because we don't know what else to do without our fearless leader here,
Johnny.
So, yes, the sponsor.
That's right.
Sponsored Dubby.gg, D-U-B-B-Y. .gg. Go there, pick out your favorite flavor of energy drink, and get 10% off when you use the promo code 2noobstalking, TOO, because we're only temporarily W today.
Yeah.
TOO noobs talking, and get 10% off your order. So
There
the
you
fun
go.
fact,
We got bud.
I have to credit Thomas Carrieri for this on Twitter. And the only reason it popped up, apparently John LeClaire follows this guy. So
okay.
It just popped up in my feed. But he had an interesting fact that I thought was very kind of mind-blowing when you stop to think about it.
Go for it.
So Major League Baseball has been around for 147 years, give or take.
Yeah.
And depending on the reference that you use, somewhere between 20,000 and 23,000 players have actually put on a Major League uniform and played in a game.
Wow.
Which is, when you think of that in the abstract, it's like, oh, that's a lot of people. The smallest stadium in the country by capacity is Progressive Field, which seats 37,830 people.
Wow.
So if you were to sit every person who'd ever played in the major leagues in that smallest Major League Baseball stadium,
crazy,
they wouldn't even fill up to about 60% capacity.
That's nuts.
I'm thinking 25 players a team.
Mm-hmm.
30 teams. You didn't have 30 back then, but so you're looking at like 750. But then you don't change every year. There's, most of the players, I guess,
call ups, and people that retire.
So 20,000 to 23,000, I guess, makes sense over that time period. But to say they wouldn't even fill the smallest stadium is incredibly weird to think.
Very much so. Yeah. I mean, I think it goes to show just how competitive it is just to get to the major leagues. You think about all the people that have gone through it. And those that I keep thinking of, like the guys that are semi-pro or get into like single and double A and they just stay there.
Oh yeah.
That's got to be so, one, frustrating, but two, it's like, when do I get promoted? How good do I have to prove myself just to get up there? It takes a lot. It takes a lot of effort for sure.
And let that be the lesson to the parents who think every person who thinks their kid's going to be an MLB star. Just let that fun fact sink in.
Just sink that in. Yeah, okay? Exactly.
147. Oh,
yeah.
It is episode 147. That didn't even occur to me till just now.
So it's just now.
Wow.
Yeah. Just nuts. Yeah.
What a coincidence. The universe smiles upon you.
It's just amazing when it just hits by accident. You just never know what can happen here on Two Noobs.
That's incredible.
Sure. Yeah.
And you just,
yeah.
All right. So what's your over 40 rant to bring us back down?
Well, I mean, I hate to be a downer, Steve. I mean, but
that's the point of the rant.
I guess it is a little bit of a rant, but it's like driving. What the hell, right? It's like I'm on 476 getting onto one of the on-ramps, and 476 is a mess to begin with because it's like sometimes you go 3 lanes, 2 lanes, 3 lanes, the further south you go. But this is like kind of around Mid-County, Plymouth Meeting area, Conshohocken. And so I get on, and as I'm about ready to get onto 476, here comes some girl in SUV, and I mean, she's flooring it, and she's in the lane where I need to get onto. And I could just tell as she was like passing me, and I'm like right behind her, a couple car lengths back. It's like, this isn't going to be good. She needs to slow down real quick or turn or do something. And she literally missed somebody by like that. And it's like, man alive, just please use your turn signals and drive defensively. That's all I have to say. That could have been a disastrous accident to see. But it was like the need for people to speed up as you're trying to come on. I mean, the courtesy, where's the courtesy in all of this? Just move over the lane, slow down, or move over, that kind of a deal. I don't know where it's gone. I don't know about you, Steve. That drives me crazy when I see something like that.
What gets me is when you're either trying to exit or, you've got one of those construction zones where people are being funneled.
Yeah.
And you can obviously see people are waiting, and then people like try to pull up the side and try to what they call zipper in.
Yeah.
I don't let those people in.
No.
They don't deserve it. bullcrap.
Happens all the time, like especially like when you get on the 76 from 202. It goes down from 4. It goes from like essentially like 4 lanes down to 3, down to 2, and you could definitely tell people like right on the shoulder as long as they possibly can, and then in.
Oh yeah.
You know, same deal with like 202 heading into 422. It's like they just wait until the last minute and then they get in there. And it's like, man, why? They're just backing up traffic.
I agree. I think the studies will probably show if all those civil engineers out there. I want to see a study, which I bet will show that zippering actually slows traffic down more than if you just took your turns.
Yeah.
One lane, one lane, one lane, one lane, one lane. Yeah. One lane. You know, you did that, I am sure traffic would speed up in those types of situations.
No doubt.
Whereas this kind of stuff, because I won't let them in. I will literally like attach my bumper to the bumper of the car in front of me to make sure that person does not get in.
Yeah, exactly.
You are an enemy of the human race. Just saying.
Yeah, exactly. That's just awful stuff. Yeah. So that's my over 40, but yeah, that's just the traffic and the turn signals, the lack of turn signals. It's like, use them, please. Tell people where you're going. That's all I'm saying.
Especially at those stop except for right turn signs.
Exactly. Those are nuts.
Those are nuts. And speaking of topics, we're going to slide right into topic 1.
Oh boy. And this one.
Yeah,
wow.
this one's I'm gonna be honest. When I read it, I wasn't sure how I felt.
Yeah.
Because some of it kind of makes sense and some of it doesn't. But we'll let you, the viewer or the listener or the smeller, decide. AP article: Lawmakers approve bill allowing French police to locate suspects by tapping their devices. French lawmakers on Tuesday adopted a sweeping justice reform bill that includes a provision to allow law enforcement agents to remotely tap into the cameras, microphones, and location services of phones and other internet-connected devices of some suspected criminals. The measure plainly stipulates that the procedure can be executed without the knowledge or consent of its owner or possessor, but is limited to suspects involved in terrorism, organized crime, and other illegal activities punishable by 5 or more years in prison.
Wait 1 second, sorry. I got to make sure to turn off my location services. No kidding.
I want to get into the voice of the character C from Spectre. Now we know what M stands for. Moron. The goal of this law is clear: a faster, clearer, modern justice. French Justice Minister Eric Dupond-Moretti said when he presented the reform legislation in the spring. The Justice Minister proposed the high-tech hunt for suspects as an alternative to long-standing police surveillance practices, such as wiretapping a suspect's vehicle and house, which he deemed no longer viable and increasingly dangerous for investigators. The technique today is faulty, Dupond-Moretti told National Assembly lawmakers this month.
Oh boy.
Why would we deprive ourselves of new technologies? When some parliamentarians expressed concern over privacy rights, the minister replied, "By crying wolf, you're no longer credible."
Wow.
M for moron. Besides limiting use of high-tech spying on suspects to crimes punishable by at least 5 years in prison, the legislation contains other controls. The goal of tapping a connected device must be locating someone in real time, and the investigating judge in a case must give the green light. In addition to activating location services, the measure would also allow investigators to activate a suspect's phone camera and microphone.
Interesting. Okay.
So, you okay with France going all 1984 on our ass?
Well, if you put it that way, Steve.
Well, I mean, the quote from what was it?
Oh, it's creepy as hell. Yeah.
I mean, that's the kind of thing you hear in the movies. Like, C is an example of Spectre, but I think you gave another example in pre-production. It's always the bad guy who says something like that.
Oh yeah, it is creepy as hell. Absolutely, yeah. This is the danger of really like when we talk about governmental oversight, particularly on the right. This is something we really don't want to have happen to our governments. Government should be there to protect its citizens, no question, from any enemies, foreign and domestic. And I'm all in favor of law enforcement doing what they need to do their jobs very, very well. But this is very, very clear. This is something where if it's like, what if those location services are turned on to somebody that doesn't do, criminal investigation? And everyone should be innocent until proven guilty. I'm not saying that the criminals should get a free ride, but what I am saying is this is very dangerous in the fact that the government now in France is trying this, or at least attempting to do something like this. Although the last few sentences, though, give me some encouragement in the fact that, okay, it's got to be cleared by a judge, it's got to be cleared by this, and it's like, that's a really good thing to me, Steve, I think, in that regard. That kind of gives me a little bit of like, okay, it's not like it's 1984 and it's like the government's fully spying on us. You got to get cleared by X, X, and X, and X, and X.
You keep on believing that.
I try, it's like I'm not holding my breath either, that kind of a deal. So there is some optimism, but I would love thoughts. What do you think in this regard?
I was with you. The fact that a judge has to, it's basically the same thing when you get a wiretap warrant.
Yep.
Here, when you tap it into somebody's landline, whoever uses those. But you have to. I don't know what the standard is in France, but in the U.S. you've got to have probable cause to get a warrant, and so that sets up the whole thing.
Yeah.
So there's at least that type of protection. But I mean, again, the justice minister or whatever the hell he is, choose your words carefully, man.
Very.
That's just. And the other thing too. The thing that really gets me here is criminals. There's a lot of dumb criminals, but if you're getting into terrorism and that kind of stuff, there's also a lot of smart criminals.
Yeah,
they're gonna know.
Yeah.
Something ain't right here.
Oh yeah.
And if freaking Brian Colangelo can have a burner phone to tweet about the 76ers, these guys are going to get burner phones. You're not going to be able to track them this way.
Yeah.
So to me, a lot of this is going to be a lot of ado for not a real good reason, because you're anticipating the criminals will have their phone on them so you can find them in real time.
Yeah.
But you got to know that it's their phone.
Yep.
Which I didn't get from the article how they figure that out. Maybe they have to go to your service provider or something. But again, if I'm committing acts of terrorism, I'm probably buying burner phones and throwing them out.
Well, yeah, exactly. Just like the Bourne Ultimatum. I was just going to think, like, that movie is a great example of a burner phone. You think about Jason Bourne being tracked, and what's he doing? He's using these burner phones all over the place, going here and then there and then there and then anything to throw the investigators off the loop, to try and catch where he is, that kind of a deal. And yeah, I mean, it's a tricky subject, obviously. It's something law enforcement, it's like, my gosh, what do? You have to wait for that actor to act in order to then leap in the fray. What are they going to do next? What's the next plan? And I see it populated in my Facebook feed sometimes. Like, I follow Upper Marion Police Department. They do a whale of a job going out there because they got King Prussia Mall, and that is massive footprint, right? And the retail theft that happens there in that mall, I mean, it is ridiculous, the amount. And so they have to work with not only the people that saw that action, but then they have to review the surveillance. And some of these folks, one of them they just arrested was somebody from Virginia that had outstanding warrants down in Virginia, if you could think about it. They were coming up here. They're going up the East Coast, and they finally caught the guy. And it was one of those things that they had to wait for that person to act, unfortunately. And unfortunately, that means innocents are going to suffer in that regard. And so that's why it's always so important to keep law enforcement in your prayers and your thoughts of what they do, because of what they do beyond what we do with our podcast, with what you do in patent law, what I do in billing, it's far beyond what we could possibly think of in that regard. But again, thinking about what that French ministry, oh goodness gracious, it's like, choose your words carefully.
Yeah.
Because those words can come back to bite you in the ass.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's really, really
I mean,
bad.
John under the table here is gonna
help me! Shut up!
The article does go on to give a little bit of context to what's going on here. In April, French lawmakers passed a law to allow the use of artificial intelligence and drones in mass video surveillance during the 2024 Summer Olympics and Paralympics in Paris.
Wow.
Terrorist attacks in France over the past decade and recent riots triggered by the police killing of 17-year-old Nahel Merzouk in a Paris suburb last month have made security a government focus as the country prepares to host athletes and visitors from around the world next year.
Yeah.
Violence also erupted this year during numerous demonstrations protesting Macron's decision to raise the French retirement age from 62 to 64.
Yeah.
Rioting over 2 years. But rights advocates fear the government is capitalizing on safety concerns that many people see as reasonable to pursue draconian measures.
Yeah.
The use of surveillance technologies cannot be the systematic response to security issues, Katja Roux, an advocacy officer at Amnesty International France, said in an interview. The impact on human rights of these technologies must be taken into account before any normalization of their use. Under the guise of legitimate objectives that are linked to security, these technologies also promote violations of human rights, the rights to privacy and freedom of expression.
Yeah.
Sadly, yet again, France is a leader in a security strategy where we approach security by surveilling everybody, a lawyer, Leclerc, said. It raises questions on the state of democracy and the state of French institutions.
Yeah.
I think that's a good point, is you're responding to things and maybe using them as an excuse.
That's a slippery slope that they're on. No question. Yeah. And I think also too, I mean, Stephen's that article makes mention of Macron having to deal with the raising of the retirement age, and they're rioting over that, over a 2-year gap. It's not like it's 5, it's not like it's 10, but 2 years, 24 additional months of work. I mean, that shouldn't be a solution, or that shouldn't be a reason, I should say, to riot over benefits. And they've spent a ton of money on their social, on their social benefits packages. There's no question about it on the government side of things. I think they're running out of money, and so it's kind of like, well, okay, we just need to work an additional 2 years. When you're right on the cusp of retirement, that's when they pull you back in, right? It's kind of one of those things. But man alive, slippery slope indeed. Slippery slope, especially when you got like the Olympics coming up, both the regular and the Paralympics. I wouldn't want to be in France anytime soon.
I don't necessarily have a problem with the surveillance of the Olympics themselves. I mean, when you have high security level events, you're going to
Super Bowl, they do that
everywhere.
Yeah, World Series, they do that too, and
But I do kind of see where they're coming from. It's like all this stuff going on. Hey, let's let's track people's phones.
Yeah,
that we security.
Yeah. Well, that guy looks shady. He's got a goatee and glasses on. He's probably got something going on.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's we've been going on Batman a while. I mean, Dark Knight, right? I mean, he turns people's cell phones into sonar system.
Yeah.
And Morgan Freeman's like
I don't want to touch this. What are you talking about?
Yeah, and he's absolutely right. Yeah. I mean, you got to catch the Joker, but there's got to be a better way to do it than prying into everybody's phone and surveilling everybody.
Yeah. Sometimes Batman isn't always the good guy in all the movies. Sometimes.
So now that you've had your birthday, how old are you?
That is for me to know and you never to find out.
56.
No. God, at least I have some good athletic years left, but I don't know how much longer. That's the thing. That's the sad part. I know you play you've been playing roller hockey forever, ever since I've known you. That's like X number of years, and you still continue to do that, right? You still,
I do.
You won a championship, actually.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Another MVP. This guy, all he does when he shows up in the playoffs, gents, and everyone, is that he just wins MVPs. That's all he does. I'm amazed more than anything else. But yeah, I can't. I don't know if I could continue. Like, I don't know if I ever played roller hockey again, to be able to do it weekly.
I'm just glad my shoulder healed to allow me to get back to the level I was playing at.
Yeah, oh my gosh, yeah.
It took a long time.
I bet.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
So you're not 56. I'm going to go 7.
Go lower.
Oh, lower. Oh,
Go
sorry.
lower.
Yeah. Lower.
Remember, I'm Gen X.
55.
Can we move on, please? Oh, for God's sakes.
Oh.
Here we go.
Topic 2. 54. I'm just going to keep counting.
Yeah, that's fine.
CNBC article. Prolonged Hollywood strikes could lead to a, quote, absolute collapse, says Barry Diller. First question, who the F is Barry Diller?
That's a good question.
All right.
I think he's a former Hollywood executive. Former, I think.
That's a spoiler alert. Before I even get to the article.
I'm sorry.
Failing to resolve the dual strikes of the Writers and Screen Actors Guilds in Hollywood will lead to devastating effects if it is not settled soon, IAC and Expedia chairman Barry Diller said in an interview on CBS's Face the Nation on Sunday, which would be previous Sunday.
Oh God, Slay the Nation. Look out.
Diller is a former Paramount Pictures CEO. I don't know how you go from Paramount Pictures to Expedia.
Yeah, that's wild.
Seems to translate.
Yeah, I know translate.
Okay. If the studio executives and guilds can't reach an agreement for several more months, Diller predicted, there will be fewer programs for consumers to watch, which will lead to canceled streaming subscriptions and reduced revenue for the entertainment industry. That means by the time the strikes are settled, there won't be enough money to ramp programs back up. Settling soon seems unlikely, however, Diller said, since there's no trust between the parties. He pointed to, quote, existential issues, including the rise of artificial intelligence, on which the guilds have said they want input on how it will be used, as well as pay disparities between the top and bottom earners in the industry. I want to ask you first about the streaming issue.
Okay.
Because I think we can get into the pay disparity after that.
Sure.
But I feel like that's any
that's
industry.
like
Particularly when you have
yeah.
extremely high paying, like, sports, not just entertainment, sporting salaries are huge too.
No doubt.
But the streaming point, he does have a point here that streaming services are going to run out of stuff. I mean, they could always rerun, but
at the same time, yeah, you're right. I mean, it's like I don't stream, to be honest with you, Steve. I don't find it appealing. And I think this kind of goes to a little bit of what I was saying, like, well, the entertainment industry, really from an intellectual property perspective, hasn't really done a very good job, I'd say, in the last 5-10 years of really coming up with good content. Everything that I hear, I'll give you an example. Like Game of Thrones was one HBO that had a really good following, and then all of a sudden the bottom dropped out. Lost ABC. That wasn't streaming per se, but again, that had a very solid following, and then boom, the bottom dropped off. Everybody was disappointed over the ending. And I keep thinking, like, now when I think about the entertainment industry, the demand for people to have like a satisfying conclusion just isn't being met right now by the writers. And I think that's a big problem at the end of it. There's always something always seems to go wrong whenever you try and resolve a series or a season or whatever the case may be. And I think a lot of people are getting, quite frankly, ticked off at the lack of the ingenuity of finishing storylines very well.
Creativity.
Yeah, I think the creativity is definitely on the downside of that. I don't know what the solution is in regards to that. Obviously, I could say, well, just make them better. Well,
better writers.
You got better writers, yeah. I mean, but if they're all a part of the SAG or they're all part of their, the whole bit, I think they're two separate unions.
The writers, as I understand it, the writers went out first,
and then the actors,
and then the Screen Actors Guild went out after. Although it wasn't like a solidarity move. I mean, there's partial solidarity there, but I think it was also they're looking for a contract or whatever they get in these negotiations. But,
yeah. And then on top of that, we were talking about in pre-production too with the whole thing with Disney. And Disney, I think, is what they're trying to do is, I think they're just trying to throw anything at the wall to see what would stick. I don't see, like, even when you and I were growing up in high school, you had stuff like Aladdin, you had stuff like Beauty and the Beast.
Oh yeah.
Really, and they were terrific stories. They had
was the what would they call it, the rebirth of the golden age,
the rebirth of the golden age of Disney. Yeah, and it was like and you had tremendous songs on top of it. Like I remember, like even in band, we were playing like Aladdin. Like it was coming out, we were all playing it because everybody watched it and saw it, and
Yep.
everybody fell in love with it.
Yep.
Nowadays, it's like they're doing the live action remakes, and they're not only just they're bad, but they're going off the beaten path of what the original story was, which is really bizarre to me in regards to that. It's like you have such great intellectual property at Disney. When you do a live action remake, stay with the source material, stay with what works in that regard. I understand like there's like you want to represent everybody, but at the same time, it's like you have great source material, you have great intellectual property. Use it. Use in these live action remakes.
I actually disagree
Do you?
in
Okay.
that I don't think they should be doing live action remakes of these things.
Mm-hmm.
The reason, at least from my perspective, that the live action remake thing is happening is a few years back they did a live action redo of The Jungle Book,
Okay.
which was a fantastic movie.
Mhm.
The live action remake version, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they did a really great job with it, and frankly, it was warranted because the original cartoon was just lazy garbage.
Yeah, not only Disney cartoons hit and miss, you know, that kind of deal. They don't always hit the bullseye.
The Jungle
Yeah.
Book cartoon was kind of, yeah. But the remake was fantastic. And
Yeah.
so what they decided out of that was, oh, let's do a live action remake of every
Yeah.
cartoon we did. And then they come out with The Lion King.
Yeah.
And I love The Lion King cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
And I got excited for the live action remake of The Lion King. And when it comes out, I'm like, well, they kind of just redid The Lion King, but
Yeah.
with real looking animals. You know, the thing that worked about the Jungle Book, aside from the fact that the cartoon, they didn't really have much to work with from the cartoon, so they had to kind of create.
Yeah.
I mean, the story is still somewhat the same,
Yep.
but they had to create all new situations around it
Yeah.
to broaden it out to a full-length movie.
Yeah.
The Lion King, they really just got new actors to say practically the same lines, and they just shot new animals instead of cartoons.
Yeah.
And I think they've just been stumbling ever since to figure that out.
Yeah.
I think if Disney wants to get back in the good graces, I think they should just come up with new stuff.
That too.
I mean,
yeah,
Pixar was great for that for a while.
Yeah.
But even they have kind of, I mean, it's Toy Story 5. I mean, I love the first 4, but
And that worries me. That worries me, I think, for their industry. You see their stock prices. Their stock prices going down significantly. They're losing a lot of money. And Iger's had to deal with a lot of decisions that he's got to make in terms of, okay, what do I need to keep in order to really continue to keep that cash flow growing into the organization? And you see that happening. But I think your point is spot on. I think the lack of intellectual property, the new intellectual property that people can just gravitate to, and you make it a family-friendly product. That's what Disney's all about, is family-friendly products. If you're able to create new characters that capture that family, or the typical American family, you're going to do well. That's what the business plan has been. Whether or not Disney decides to want to do that or not, that's up to them. But they haven't done it in quite a while either. That's the thing, and I think that's where they're struggling. And you throw in the Screen Actors Guild going on strike, the writers now going on strike. Now all of a sudden it's kind of like you don't know what's going on up in the air in the entertainment world. Whether or not they see, I'll ask you this question with the I forget the name of the guy that was it Hiller that said
Phyllis Diller.
Yeah, Phyllis Diller. That basically said, okay, if this doesn't get resolved in the next couple of months, the entertainment industry is crashing. This is going to be an absolute collapse. I mean, is that a little over the top, do you think?
I do. I mean, every time, when baseball went out on strike in '94 and the World Series got canceled, there goes baseball. It'll never be, baseball's doing fine.
Yeah.
Hockey missed an entire
Their
year.
season, they're fine.
They're fine.
Yep.
NBA has had strikes that missed huge chunks of seasons. They're fine. I mean, I don't think ultimately that there won't be any entertainment going forward. We'll just be sitting in front of empty boxes acting out stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But the point of the streaming services, I do think is interesting because, part of the problem is that COVID really accelerated the streaming.
It did. And the movies had a really difficult time catching up to that. Yeah.
Yeah. You couldn't go to the movie theater, so they had to put it out on streaming. But when it was time to go back to the theater, they were like, all right, well, we're simultaneously going to put it in the theater and on streaming.
Yeah.
Not realizing, what was going to do
Yeah.
to your revenue.
Yes.
And now the actors are paying the prices because, as I understand it, the streaming service residuals they get are peanuts.
Compared to a movie release. Yeah.
Right. And not only that, I saw Matt Damon speaking on, this was unrelated, but, after the movie comes out, then you would have the DVD release.
Yeah.
And that was like a second, that was like a second win for them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And now you don't have that as much anymore because everybody's just streaming it. And I don't think it's another one of those things where we pushed, or maybe we were forced to because of COVID, but streaming became the norm before we really knew how to handle it.
But you and I both know, though, I mean, we're avid DVD movie collectors and Blu-ray, right? I mean, that has been like lifeblood type of thing for me. Like, if I'm going to watch a movie, I'm just going to throw it right onto the Blu-ray and just go from there. But yeah, I mean, that's a great point too. I mean, the streaming, I think it worked for a little bit of time. No question. During the pandemic, 2020, early 2021, I think you needed to do that.
You had no choice.
You had no choice, obviously. But now, post-COVID, I mean, it's a couple years now. Got to get back into movie theaters. And I think there's going to be a little bit of catch-up. Where I disagree with the fact that everything's going to be a collapse, because I agree. I don't think it's going to be that bad. But it is going to be something where the writers have to come up again. It goes back to what I was saying before with Disney. You got to come up with good IP, real good character development, and then you put that out in the theater and really start to kind of just say, okay, come on back to the movie theater. Yeah. Instead of us to come back to the theaters. That's probably the biggest thing that will drive a lot of people back, and maybe lower those ticket prices. Just saying, because it's insane the amount of money that is out there for sure. You know this, obviously, with the kids.
I dread it, but there's certain things I just have to see on the big screen.
Oh, no question. Yeah, like the next Godzilla movie will definitely be on IMAX.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no choice for me but to see it on
exactly
the biggest screen available.
Exactly right.
But so the other issue that's kind of reared its head in the strike is one that we've talked about on Two Noobs a fair bit, which is AI. Diller specifically has addressed AI in his interview, and he said it's been overhyped to death. So I agree with him.
Agreed. Yep.
But he says it's been overhyped to death in terms of the impact it will have on writers and screen actors' jobs. He says writers will get assisted, not replaced. Most of these actual performing crafts, I don't think they're in danger of artificial intelligence. I tend to agree with him.
Agreed.
When I've seen characters who were fully CGI rendered, the Peter Cushing cameo in the what was the Rogue One Star Wars movie? Looked like Peter Cushing, but he kind of moved really weird.
Yeah,
and there was something wrong with his eyeballs. And even Carrie Fisher's cameo at the end, she didn't look right.
Yeah.
AI is nowhere close to that.
Or if you're in the fast movies, think of Paul Walker, the guy who died not that long ago, actually, a few years ago. There was a scene of him. I don't think it was necessarily done out of CGI or AI, but he's driving in the car, and it's like he's like going alongside Dom, and apparently it's like a huge emotional scene where they all split off, that kind of, they go in their own separate ways or something like that. But yeah, to your point, it's kind of like, no, that was a little cheesy. Didn't look right.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, there you go.
But just the last thing on this strike. So Fran Drescher is apparently the head of the Screen Actors Guild, and she did make a point of so depending on which side you're going to fall on, she points out that Bob Iger makes
20 million.
20. So I think this figure she gave was something like $78,000 a day. And the studios are crying poor.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's such a great look.
Yeah. Well, they call him the phone booth because he doesn't offend anybody. He's just there. That's who Bob Iger is. It's just a phone booth. So as long as he just stays in his phone booth, he'll be fine. But now that his salary's out, $78,000 a day,
Don't know if it's true or not.
Yeah, I don't know if it's true or not either.
Good luck crying 4 there, buddy.
Yeah, exactly.
John, he hit me. I think
I
he
didn't
needs
do
to
a
be
damn
punished.
thing. You know what it was? You guessed my age wrong or correctly, and I punched you off screen.
Never start with the head. The host gets all fuzzy. See? Speaking
Here I am.
how's your throat cancer?
It's fine.
Speaking of fuzzy, topic 3. Why are healthy people sometimes stupid? Why are the stupid people gifted with health?
Oh, I don't know.
Engadget article, people. Why are non-diabetics suddenly wearing continuous glucose monitors? Because they're dumb as well.
What?
I can even see with the wide screen. I can even pose. Let's see what a Snickers bar does to my blood sugar. Justin Richard, a 52-year-old Toronto-based TikToker, says just before eating the candy bar on camera.
Oh, good Lord Almighty.
After a time skip, Richard says, "It's been several hours since I've had the chocolate bar. Let's have a look at the glucose monitor and see what actually happened." Surprise, surprise. I had a spike in my blood sugar.
Boy, that made me just lower my IQ about 5 points. That's amazing.
Continuous glucose monitors, or CGMs,
There you go. All about the acronyms here on Two Noobs.
have long been used as a tool to track blood sugar levels for people with type 1 and type 2 diabetes. Or diabetes for normal people. If you're Wilford Brimley, it's diabetes.
There you go.
Here's the thing, though. Richard does not have diabetes.
Oh,
While monitoring sugar intake is standard practice for people on tight blood sugar control treatment plans and those with persistently low blood glucose levels, modern CGM devices have become a popular wellness trend on social media. Oh god.
oh boy.
Users like Richard that have integrated a CGM into their daily life have stormed platforms like TikTok and Instagram. Some internet health coaches and dietitians have trumpeted their praise. CGMs are a vital tool for preventing diabetic ketoacidosis, a life-threatening complication in type 1 diabetic patients. When sugar levels are too high and the body begins to break down fat, it can lead to a high amount of acid circulation in the bloodstream. For non-diabetics, however, complications stemming from extremely high or low blood sugar levels isn't a concern. There is little to no research to back that monitoring blood glucose levels in generally healthy adults equates to an overall improvement in health.
Wow.
I ask again, why are the stupid blessed with good health? And why do healthy people turn to TikTok for health advice?
Because they want to have a joke. Something like that. Yeah. I don't know.
Help me out here, will you?
I'm trying, man. I really don't know what else to say. What would possess somebody to use an item that benefits those that are suffering from diabetes to make a stupid point on a stupid social media app?
Oh, I wonder if this really works.
Well, of course it does, you dumbass. You know, it's like, what the heck is happening here?
Richard, if you're concerned about what happens to your body when you eat a Snickers, maybe don't eat a Snickers.
Maybe not, yeah.
I could have told you without a CGM what would have happened if you didn't ask me to eat a Snickers.
I don't get this.
I don't know why you needed to shell out money for that.
Oh my gosh.
This reminds me of like the whole gluten-free thing.
Yeah.
Like, if you have a gluten
That drives
allergy,
me crazy, by the way. That really does.
if you have a gluten allergy, which is a real thing, I know
Yep.
people who have it.
Yep.
Absolutely avoid gluten, and good on the food companies for being able to provide.
Yeah.
Some of it's good, some of it
Not so good.
not so good.
Yep.
But to be able to provide like normal people food for
Mhm.
people who suffering from gluten allergies,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
there is no reason
No.
to be on a gluten-free diet if you're not allergic to gluten.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's these people on social media spreading this stuff. Oh, I feel so much better. No, you don't. It's psychosomatic.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. It's just it's just a dumbing down of social media content, to be perfectly honest. I hate to say it, but it is. It's dumb. And it just continues to get worse and worse and worse. Where it's just like, I don't understand the point he's trying to make in regards to this, especially. And I go back to, there are people that do suffer. I know one guy that played hockey with type 1. I don't know how he did it, but he did it. He played ice hockey with us like way back in the day before the pandemic. You know, we were doing the Old Man's Rant Classic. He was type 1 diabetic, and yet he was perfectly fine. Like he monitored himself very, very well. He'd stop, he'd do his whatever he would have to do, pinprick, whatever the case may be. But I don't know how you do that, in that regard. And it's like that's a very serious disease, should be treated very seriously. It's not something that you throw on if you're completely healthy. You don't put on a CGM and say, oh, you know what, I'm going to experiment with this and see what happens. No. No.
Well, fortunately,
and I love this.
Fortunately,
we were cheering on this.
There are TikTokers who fight back.
I love it.
This is Dr. Ids, another TikToker with over 1.7 million followers, calls the use of CGM devices for adults without any prescribed medical need a feature of disordered eating. Dr. Ids, short for, I'm not even going to bother with his name. I'll just call him Dr. Ids.
Love it. Yeah.
He's a board-certified UK-trained medical doctor with expertise in nutritional research, so he's qualified.
Love it.
He became a prominent figure when he started rebuking the nonsense health information circulating on TikTok that preys on people's vulnerabilities.
Love it.
He says CGMs aren't really intended for non-diabetics because our body is designed to regulate the spike. Dr. Ids says people need to understand that spiking blood glucose is not a problem. In fact, that is supposed to happen when you eat food.
Who would have thought?
Even eating protein can spike your insulin levels.
There you go.
This is important because people are scared of blood glucose spikes because it spikes your insulin and they think that causes fat gain and insulin resistance.
Yeah.
Although there may not be an inherent physical risk for people who wear a CGM device to monitor and track sugar levels, there is a real possibility that access to too much data can lead to information overload, false alarms, unnecessary anxiety, confusion, or misinterpretation. Yeah, I can totally agree with that.
Totally agree with that.
Slight fluctuations in blood sugar levels are normal in people who don't have diabetes. Still, it's no surprise that more people are interested in experimenting with these devices. Not only are TikTokers promoting blood glucose monitoring as an indicator of health and wellness, but ads for CGM devices from up-and-coming brands like Nutrisense, Veri, and Signos have been flooding social media.
Wow.
The companies use language designed to sell the average person on the importance of regularly tracking blood sugar levels as a way to lose weight or as a metabolism hack. But thank God for Dr. Ids. He argues the vast majority of people won't even know how to interpret their CGM results.
Exactly.
Even me as a medical doctor, I would probably need to look at some reference values for each individual, perhaps have to do some calculations. And that's me, who's actually a medical doctor. Imagine the average person who's just going, oh my God, I've had a spike.
Yeah.
That must mean it's bad, right? You don't even know how to interpret it. So it's going to be completely useless.
Thank God for common sense to prevail.
I mean, he's got a point. Too much information can be harmful.
Yeah. And especially if you have no idea what you're doing.
Absolutely.
That's really scary in that regard. We were cheering this at pre-production. We were not, Steve. I mean, seriously, this was wonderful that this article and Engadget was coming back with this. And I think it's so important that, at the outset, I can understand it if like you feel a spike or you feel something not right in your body. You don't go on TikTok to try and figure out, whether or not it's, this is like legit or not. Maybe I'll throw it on there just for the hell of it. You go to a medical professional and you get tested for it. And then then they make the determination. Okay. Yeah, you're type 1. We need you to wear this for X number of times. I don't know how long they wear it, but in any event, they'll tell you, and you just go along with it and you monitor it and you just make sure that you don't go over the top or crazy with it. Things like that. So I love that this Dr. Ids guy is just basically just refuting this on social media. That's exactly what you need to do. And just to bring people's sanity level back down to like, okay, let's just, instead of going insane, let's just breathe a little bit. Let's just say, okay, just take this in, understand what's going on, that kind of a deal.
Well, I mean, what bothered me from that passage was that there are companies who are now actually on board.
Oh yeah,
Because they don't give two craps about whether or not you're fat or thin or healthy or diabetic or not. They
Nope.
just want your money. And
And
these
we
things are
saw-
expensive.
Oh, absolutely. We saw the pricing of that from the monthly subscription.
Mhm.
It's ridiculous. And Richard,
The TikToker, thinks,
that basically spending the amount of money that he has on his own CGM.
oh, I'm going to save money in the long run.
Well, of course you are, because you're an idiot. Spend money to make money, right? I guess. I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, it's but it's people have to really stop and think. These fad diets, exercise
Yeah.
things, these companies do not have your well-being usually in mind.
Yeah.
They are in the business to make money, and just because they're touting something as the next big thing that's going to get you to lose 50 pounds doesn't necessarily make it so. And I think this kind of thing here, and again, too much information.
Yeah.
I panic sometimes when something happens and I don't understand it, and my anxiety goes up, and that's not good for your health either.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so I would have this thing, and I would see, oh, just like he says, oh my god, I got a glucose spike.
Now what?
I'm gonna die. and really, Dr. Eads is there to say,
Well,
no,
calm down.
your body is doing exactly what it's supposed to do.
Yeah, exactly.
So just to wrap this up, and this is like the
Love it.
ADA, the ADA
American- Oh yeah.
does not recommend CGM device use by healthy people. They only clearly state that the technology should be considered from the outset of the diagnosis of diabetes
There you go.
that requires insulin management.
There you go.
Dr. Ids takes us a step further in stating flatly, there is no evidence whatsoever that blunting blood sugar spikes does anything for our health.
Love it.
He backs up his argument with research from a retrospective and randomized trial that focused on the impact of blood glucose monitoring in diabetic and non-diabetic populations. He says, if anything, research suggests that a low average blood glucose level is bad for you.
Yeah.
And might increase mortality risk over time due to diminished consumption of healthy nutrients and decreased liver function.
Yeah.
So there, if you try to keep your blood sugar too low, you're gonna die. And there was
Spend money to make money, though, Steve. You know
there
what
was
I'm
a
saying?
consumer the gluten-free thing. There was a Consumer Reports article a few years ago that said something similar. I don't remember if it was gluten or some other kind of fad. Maybe it was like vegan or something. But yeah, there might be a health benefit to eating less meat, but when you cut it out entirely, you're not only missing the protein, but because your diet has been modified, you might be missing other things that you otherwise would have been taking in from that. And I think
a great point.
I think that's a similar thing here with the glucose.
Big time.
I mean, if you're concerned about, if you have a family history of diabetes and you're concerned about it, maybe don't eat a Snickers bar. But
and for darn sure, don't eat it with a knife and fork. I mean, that's weird.
Well, yeah, that's totally weird. But at the same time, you can go too far the other way.
Absolutely.
And that's what we here at Two Noobs are here for. We want you to calm the fuck
Calm down.
Calm down, John. Stop. Calm down.
Ow.
Take a breath and think things through.
Yeah.
Don't just jump on the TikTok.
The 30,000 overview, 30,000 foot overview is always a good thing. You can see everything. You can see everything what's going on, and that's what this article points out. It's very important. Take it seriously, yes, but don't panic. Whatever you do, don't panic whenever you see a spike like that, because it's your body's normal reaction. If it's abnormal, that's a totally different story. But for healthy people, like
let a doctor tell you.
A doctor tell you, yeah.
Not folks on TikTok. So, passive aggressive thumbs up to Dr. Ids. All right, people, it's topic 4. Little bit different setup.
Is this really topic 4?
Oh, this is topic 4. Apparently to get views on YouTube, you need to be playing video games.
Heck
so
yeah.
We decided we're going to do that. And we're not just playing any video game. We're not going to do like Roblox or
hell no.
Whatever those.
We grew up in the golden age, no pun intended, of video gaming, and we have, what is it, Goldeneye N64 version
Oh, that's right.
Oh my!
Cartridge-based, people.
Oh my!
Cartridge-based. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna play a couple rounds of Goldeneye. Nat versus I. This got very heated back in the day.
Oh my gosh!
Put that
Yes.
This got very heated back in the day, so
Very
we're gonna
much
see if we've mellowed out at all. But since it's just the two of us, we thought we'd have a little fun with this. Just you get a little insight into our madness, because there is a method to it. Just,
Well, there was all kinds of tremendous amounts of laughter and a lot of memories that I have of this game.
There was
I
a lot of-
remember you cheated.
I was gonna say there was a lot of cheating. I remember the cheating. It was mostly on your side.
Particularly when it came to the proximity lines.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So again, this is legit. This is not a simulator or anything. This is a legitimate Nintendo 64 that I purchased in the year probably 2000 or 2001. Still works, believe it or not.
God bless you.
And cartridge-based game, man, it was the best. A lot of the CDs.
Yeah.
All right, so we are already at the multiplayer option screen. We're gonna get into this. We like the basement level because it's relatively easy. It's not much of a maze, so you spend more time shooting each other than trying to figure out where the hell you are.
Yeah.
I guess we should pick characters.
Right. So Steve on the top, I'm on the bottom.
I've never actually watched the whole thing of Goldeneye, so I don't know.
I do remember, of course, like
Well,
Natalia
this is Sean
was...
Bean. I'm going to be Sean Bean.
Oh, there you go. Well, then I guess I'll have to be James.
Well, there you go. And we're gonna go. We decided for this first one, we're gonna go semi-traditional here. We're gonna go with automatics. That's our requirements. So I think we are ready to go. Right? Okay,
We're ready.
here we go.
Good luck.
May the best non-cheater win.
At least I'm dressed for the occasion, Steve. I mean, you know what I'm
I
saying?
already got a clock. This was like, you know how every console has kind of a game that was sort of the key one.
This was one of the
This
greatest.
was one of the like defining Nintendo 64 games.
Why am I backing away from it?
You're a coward.
No, I didn't see that at all.
Ah!
Come here, Steve.
Body
Come here,
armor.
Steve. I got a gun for you.
Ah! Shoot him, not Swall, idiot!
Damn it!
No, not a handgun.
Yes!
Alright, so as you can see, there's already cheating. Because I died.
Let's see what else we got here. Oh, we got a pistol. All right. Ooh. Fun gun.
Oh, you.
Where are you? See, if I had a remote mine, that would be great.
Wow.
Oh, wait! Oh! Ah!
I can't just stand here and trade fire with you. I'm pretty sure I shot you in the face at some point there, so you should have died.
That's okay. I just shot you all over the place and killed you. I'm actually surprised.
What?
Oh! Gosh darn it!
Yeah!
Oh!
Suck it!
No!
Ah! Shoot him! Yeah, there we go.
Got me that time.
Now I'm gonna shoot your corpse. Yeah, that's it. That's
There's
it.
no cheating on this game whatsoever. None. What made this game so great was just, I mean, the 3D. I love the 3D level. Oh crap! I gotta run.
You know, the funny thing is, do you remember when this came out? We were like,
Look at these graphics. They look so real.
And all this is just 3D polygons. That's it.
Yeah. It's pretty sad now when you look at it.
Oh yeah. But it is a classic. It's like one of the all-time greatest video games ever.
Absolutely.
Ever.
They redid one on the Wii, Nintendo Wii. But the cool thing about that was they didn't just limit the characters to Goldeneye. So you could get like Jaws or Scaramanga or Oddjob.
I need a gun. There we go.
Hey, somebody please get this man a gun.
You look at you. You're like all bleeding all over the place.
What? No. Here. Oh yeah, get into a corner. That's a great strategy. No! No! I gotta kill you now!
Oh crap.
Oh, you got the armor.
I have to go here, Steve. Sorry. 1 minute left. Oh no!
Oh, damn it!
Yes, I shot you in the face. I need that armor too. There you go. Here. I keep pulling the trigger when there's no bullets. That's not good.
I know there's a reload.
I think I figured it out. I think you go B, I think. Yep, you do press. It's the B button.
Oh, yeah. Even automatic.
Oh!
Oh!
And I won 3-2. Look at that. Oh man.
How do you check that?
Okay, so looks like you just have to press the left arrow.
Oh, okay.
So I had 3 kills to your 2. I lost twice.
I was the longest innings and most honorable. See, you're just.
Well,
and
I
you're
was the most deadly and the most frantic.
See, so you have literally no plan in this game.
No, of course not. Why would I have a plan?
All right, we're gonna do one more round.
That's
So I can even up the cheat. And we did decide we're gonna go Moonraker lasers.
Oh boy,
because they're fun. You don't have to reload.
Pre-production, just for no, Steve was killing me with the lasers. Absolutely destroying me with lasers. So I think this will be 1-1. I think you're going to own me on this one. I don't know.
All right, are you ready to go?
Let's do it.
Please put me by the laser. Please put me by. Oh, you know.
I love the cross.
Oh, there we go. I'm set.
Oh wait, really?
Yeah. That's the rule. I have to get the laser.
I have to hide. I have to hide from you.
You always hunt. See what John misses when he goes out? This is what work does. Miss out on. Not that he could have played anyway, because Nintendo 64 was before. I think the Wii was the first one where you could play remotely online.
Oh crap!
Oh yeah! Look at that! Look at that! Yeah, get some! Yeah!
Unbelievable! Unbelievable!
Oh, you're going on.
I don't need a Soviet rifle. I need a laser. I need a laser.
I need sharks with lasers on their heads.
I know where you are.
Yeah.
I gotta run away from this area very fast. I don't need a Kloss. That's
Have I been mispronouncing it this whole time as a swab?
I don't know. Dude, where are you?
Oh, step into the light.
Step into the light.
Yeah.
Already cheating.
Ooh.
Already cheating.
Oh, let's see. This is what I have to So seriously, is that a clob or a kloss?
I think it's a Kloss. Kloss.
All right.
If somebody knows in the comments,
Yeah, comment
leave it.
below. Yeah.
Comment below. I thought it was a club this whole 23 years.
I don't know. KF7 Silver. Okay, that doesn't help us. I'm getting a little tired of you with this laser.
I think I shot you in the crotch then. That must have been. Now I gotta go back and guard the body on that.
Oh, is that what you're doing? You're right, it is. It's a club. KLOBB,
all right.
I did look at that. Yeah,
Okay,
you're
so
right
I
on the
was
money.
moved right. All right, but what was the best Bond movie?
Gosh.
Because you admitted in pre-production that Goldeneye is actually pretty cheap.
Oh, it
And
definitely is.
everything Pierce Brosnan.
I would say probably one of my all-time favorites was Tomorrow Never Dies. That's one of my all-time favorite ones. Oh, the Pierce Brosnan.
Okay.
Casino Royale ranks up there as well for me.
Just letting you talk while I write down.
Just trying to think like what else. Casino Royale for sure. I have not seen Spectre.
You haven't seen Spectre?
I haven't seen Spectre
Oh my
yet.
God,
I've got to
that's
see that. I don't think I've killed
It's not one of my
one
top
time.
ones, though.
I haven't killed that once.
Casino Royale's good. I like Skyfall.
Skyfall was
The Daniel Craig stuff is good. Sean Connery stuff, like I know everybody loves it, but
Dr. No?
when you look back on it, it's terrible.
It's
I mean, like the choreographed fights.
they were definitely
oh,
choreographed, let me tell you.
Oh man!
They were definitely choreographed.
Like I like Sean Connery as much as the next guy. He had to work on his fighting style. That was long range too, and I didn't even have to snipe. But
respawning in your area. That's the problem.
I know, it's great. Goldfinger and From Russia with Love is good.
Yeah.
The Roger Moore stuff is as I kill you again.
Yeah.
The Roger Moore stuff is cheesy, just like the Pierce Brosnan
Just
stuff.
FYI, I'm trying my best over here. Getting killed 8 times. You can tell I was not very happy whenever that happened. As I run right by you.
I got you though. In the back, I'm gonna shoot in the back. This kind of guy. The best one was when you have the remote mines.
Oh gosh.
And you would just plant them on walls.
Just die one time. Just die once. Oh, for God's sake!
Yes. I'm going for double digits here, baby. You put the remote mines on the walls. You would throw them wherever you went, and then you just wait for somebody.
But the hardest part about all of that was just waiting for someone to come into that room. Yeah. That was the hardest part all those years ago.
The other hard part was remembering where you planted them because you would like detonate them and they would fall off next to you. And it was just, come on, 10. Damn it!
You won and you killed me. I didn't think I.
Ooh, marksmanship and
most professional. I think I was probably most cowardly, even though I didn't. Oh, there we go.
Let's see what you got.
No kills, 9 losses, mostly harmless.
Where's the ammo?
Yeah, that's a great question. Where is the most ammo?
Oh, all right, well done, sir. Well done.
A lot of fun.
1-1.
Yeah.
Brings back great memories of back at my old house. Cheating.
Lots of cheating, especially. But who would have thought that was the Kloss? I thought it was the
Klobb.
It's the Klobb. KLLBB.
Actually, it's the KLO88.
Low 88. That doesn't make any sense either.
All right. Well, that brings episode 147 to a close.
There you go.
I had a lot of fun with that.
Yeah.
For sure. Hopefully next week John will be back and we can. But hopefully we can do more of this sometime because there's all kinds of great games. My son has the Nintendo Switch. I found out that there's a Pikmin. That's always a good time.
Yeah.
But, so much for this. 2 Noobs Talking, episode 147. We'll be back next week with episode 148. Until then, I am the most professional. He is mostly harmless. We'll see you next week.
Take care.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for listening to this episode of 2 Noobs Talking. Not only can you listen to our entire catalog here on YouTube, but you can also download us on your favorite podcast listening platforms, such as Apple, Google, and Samsung podcasts, along with iHeartRadio and others. Have a great week, and we look forward to delivering another episode of Two Noobs Talking. Take care.